All right.
All right.
I don't have my bow tie.
Ah, that's okay. We can see your bow tie later when you have your accordion.
So, do you want just do interview, or you want to talk about dates and when is it going to be streamed?
Sure. Let's talk about dates.
When are you thinking?
What did we have?
June.
Right. Did we settle on an actual date? No, not yet. Right.
I'm thinking to do like June 4th. It has to be in June, yeah?
June would be best. Yep.
Like Sunday on June 4th.
We could do we could do that. Let me just double check.
And it really doesn't matter where I going to be, whether in Japan or anywhere else. So I can stream from anywhere, yeah?
That's correct. That's the beauty of the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, June 4th is perfect.
Let's say, what time do you think would be best for you and for viewers?
I would think midday would be best.
Like 2 p.m.?
2 p.m. sounds great to me.
Hmm. So, and I'm thinking to find decent, decently good facility where I can just little stage when I could be like more like uh, more than just home.
Absolutely. A stage is always better.
Mm.
The best thing is to have something with great lighting, if you can
Oh
have
yeah,
that, and then a place where you can just hook up to have good sound. And then the better the camera, the better. That's how it goes. Do
but
you have a place in mind?
it depends. I probably will be in Japan right before that. But if it will cost my trip in Japan, I might do it from Japan. Even if it's time 14 hours difference, we still manage how to handle it. I might be in Texas. I don't know yet. But if I'll be in Milwaukee, I have a studio where I'm teaching. They have very pretty stage. Not
Great.
and they told me they could use uh, laptop for me. Yeah. But
Perfect.
state microphones and video camera will be best, yeah?
Yes. Most computer, yeah. Uh, it's better with microphones and video camera. But
Okay, then
we
I will work on that one. So yeah.
perfect. Yeah, yeah. And when you have an idea of where you're going to be streaming from, like let me know and either I can are you going to be handling all the technical stuff or do you think somebody will
Probably
be helping you?
somebody else will be, yeah.
So I can talk to them
Yeah,
and
somebody else who know a little more than I do.
yeah, and and that'll be great. So you tell them to contact me and then we can probably have just like a little tech session and
Yes.
then I'll show them like how StreamYard works. It's pretty easy though, pretty good setup, right? I mean,
Yeah.
coming off your iPad, it works pretty well, don't you think?
Oh yeah. Now I know a little more today.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, that was part of the reason why I started doing this is just that the new landscape is for musicians to be doing either virtually completely online or having these hybrid concerts that are in person but also streaming live. And
Yeah.
I don't know, it's a whole nother skill set, right?
Yes, yes. No, I think it's a great thing to do. People will hear you what we do, and it's more like it's better.
Yeah. And that's what I figure is just, kind of help it out, doing some of these, 15 minutes of fame calls and some other concerts that we were doing. Just, part of it is acclamation, part of it's just, getting out there, doing new music.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
We're all in it together, right?
yeah.
So, you know what? Before, I want to talk about 15 minutes of fame a little bit, but why don't you just, like, say your name, introduce yourself, and tell us what you do.
My name is Stas Venglevski. Originally, I grew up in Moldova. Used to be part of Soviet Union, beautiful small country with lots of greens, lots of grapes, lots of wine, you know. And that's why I started my life, you know. I went to music school, and from age 5, I fell in love with my accordion. Because my father played a little bit, my older brother played. That's how I started to be in love with music, you know.
So
I've,
it's a family tradition.
well, yes, but they were my father just played one song on accordion. My brother went to music school, but he did not continue as a musician. And so, and my uh, father's best friend, one of the good buddies, he was a music teacher, and in school they signed me in. Now that's all. I did play accordion all my life. So then I went to music school, music college in Moldova, and then I went to Moscow and entered Academy of Music for my master's degree. So, and it's very, very great school, probably one of the best and prestigious school in the world. Accordion department there was such a, I was blessed to be accepted as a student because competition is so huge in Russia. So, and that I got master's degree and came here after that. So, and that's all I've been doing, you know, playing accordion. Now, when I came to United States, it was the whole different game, you know. I become like not a student but an artist, and I started to like bloom like an artist, little by little, you know, get experience and everything. So I'm here now.
So, and how long have you been in the United States?
Since 1992.
Okay.
Yeah, I arrived here, and that's how I dedicated the whole my life to become a musician.
And you're a performing artist, or do you teach, or?
It's a package. I am a performing artist. Then also I have a bunch of students. When I am not traveling here, I am teaching. And what else I do? Okay. I do some conducting, accordion orchestras, and I belong to some organization, accordion organization, and the board of directors, and so everything, you know, like musician, I have to be really capable to do everything possible you can do. Also, I compose. I composed over 160 compositions since year 1999.
Well,
So
do you compose for all instruments or just the accordion?
mostly for accordion,
Yeah.
but also I had some pieces I wrote for small chamber groups, and then I did transcription of my original music for different instruments, flute, violin, cello, trios, and so on.
Gotcha. And so, how much new music do you perform in general?
Oh, constantly. Since I met my dear friend Yehuda and I, the minute I landed on this soil, you know, in the United States, and by the way, Yehuda, it's very interesting story how we met. Uh, I We rented very small apartment when I came here. And the only chance for me to practice, I had to go to university. They gave me a little room, and I just practice my stuff. And one of my practice sessions, I hear knock to the door, and that was Yehuda. And I said, "What the hell sounds come from this room?" He was so mesmerized. What is that? Of course, he was familiar with accordion, but I played like Liszt, Bach, Mozart, and everything comes from this. And he couldn't believe, you know, that he is in music department from that room, accordion does that kind of stuff. And that was probably a minute we become very good friends. And he told me right away, I'm going to write piece for you. Later, he wrote for me piece trio for trumpet, cello, and accordion, which we premiered at university and we played other places in Madison. It's first composition he wrote for accordion, actually. And that gave me kind of spread my vision to bigger scale of new contemporary music.
Right.
So, and since then, he told me about his serious music from almost yesterday, and I was probably, I don't think I missed any of this series as a performer. So, and we collaborated, and I played almost single on schedule performances with a head. And probably we used to do it once a year.
Okay.
Yeah, and by that time you have 1 year to prepare new music, brainstorm what kind of play, and you would introduce me to many different local composers, and I collaborate with David Vaughan, and there's so many wonderful composers, and my schedule on new music becomes so busy. You constantly learn, play. So Yehuda wrote over 16 compositions for me. So David Vaughan.
Okay.
So but now I just released my CD number 30, and probably 10 of them music by new composers.
Oh, wow.
I recorded all pieces what Yehuda wrote for me. I recorded most of David Vaughan's pieces. So it's constant process, you know.
Right. Right. Well, that's it. It's always working hard, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's not only I have to do it. It's I always like you get new compositions like Santa send you present. I always like to see it, put my hands and experiment. It's interesting process.
That is awesome. So when you get composers are writing for you for your instrument, are there any things that you wish you could tell like all composers when they're writing for you, like, oh, this is something for my particular instrument? Because anyway, accordions in general kind of vary a great deal, right?
Yeah, it's specific instrument, but I used to be like more try to get more into depth of accordion with composer, but then lately I think I don't know what to say, but I say just write the music. You know accordion sound, you know how it works. All you need to know, it's like the best I can describe it's like miniature pipe organ.
Right.
With the instrument, But if you compare to accordion to pipe organ can't breathe. It's just very tight. Accordion can breathe. It's like that what separates us from. So in some way it has more than pipe organ. It's very hard to tell. I mean, I avoid Japan kind of scales, arpeggios on accordion because there's no pedal.
Right.
But then most of composers they know how sound accordion is, and
right.
You have to, as a composer, have a vision what kind of sound you want to get from this instrument. Plus now YouTube's and information accessible, so much you can get. So good music, it doesn't matter what instrument you write on.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, I do think that there's like better practices and worse practices for any instrument, right? I mean, just like technicality and so forth. But you just figure that out as you go along.
We learn by doing, yeah.
Right.
Exactly. And I told them, just write a piece. If you have any questions, go. Let's call. Let's talk. And then I am as a performer, no instrument. We can direct each other to write way, and it's usually collaboration works pretty well. Yeah, an interesting process, like I said before.
I think it's the best process when writing, especially a new work, if you can have a performer to sort of give feedback and
Yeah,
collaborate and give you some ideas. In a lot of ways, it can help inspire the composition, even, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. So you mentioned David Bone. So he approached you with this crazy 15 minutes of fame project, right?
It was a while ago. He tried a few times, but with my busy schedule, I kind of, yeah, yes, I say always yes, but it came to the point later. He said, now we need to set up the date.
Right.
So I say, no problem, Dave. I look my schedule, and actually, it's very intriguing project. No,
So what intrigues you about 15 minutes of fame?
first of all, it's short pieces, and my, vision, like how composer can squeeze all ideas in 1 minute piece. And I already got one piece from one of composers, which he sent me just to check if notation right. Then he sent it to your site and register. And it was so interesting, like in 1 minute, how much you can do. You create the whole big piece, you know. Besides, like Flight of the Bumblebee,
Right.
you know. And I think it's really cool, and I'm very anxious to see other pieces, because I think, first of all, it's short, less work for me in terms of timing, you know.
Sure.
So, and we live in such a busy time now, and everything's so quick.
It is true.
And I think that project kind of relate to that idea that we're so short of time. But at the same time, it could be so much it could be done in 1 minute. You know?
Yeah, I think so. I've seen, it's amazing how flexible the 1 minute is.
Yeah.
Some people like to stretch it out and like make a nice serene sort of.
It could be endless. Yeah, yeah. And so, I attended concert when David Bone premiered some of them, one segment of 15 minutes film, and I really liked it. I thought it's not 1 minute piece. I didn't even think about time. Honestly, 1 minute for me it was like eternity. And David Bone played well. Yes, I tell him. He said that although he said it's very tricky pieces, there's so much going on in 1 minute. But I really liked it what he done, and after that, I got even more excited about that project for accordion.
Absolutely. And so, I was just reading a little about your bio, and I love the one part that says he's an entertainer, and I don't know about you, but like one of the things I live in New York City, and one of the things that I have grown up with and sort of experienced on a regular basis is sort of the traveling accordion player coming through the subway. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but yeah, there's that. But just in general, there's this sort of the tradition of the entertainer as the accordion player.
Well, as I say, accordion is a very specific and different instrument. It has different times. When I came here, the first one of my friends say, "What do you do?" I say, "Play accordion," and he say, "Let me tell accordion joke." What about accordion? So image is so, and I've been playing for such a different audiences throughout last like 30 years. I played for clubs, nightclubs, concert stage, the symphony orchestra, and you never know what kind of audience there. Sometimes I go to play the concert, and people, I don't know what to expect, and people don't know what to expect. Sometimes I have to change the whole program.
Wow.
Sometimes do on light side because I have large repertoire, and I can do it. I do my original. I can do concert of my original music only. Or so, and you never know. And I like to connect with audience, regardless. Some often I just talk, explain about instrument, about my music. It's part of most of my performance. Is what I do. And doing that, I love to do that. To connect with my audience, and sometimes you tell a joke, maybe one, two, or something. You make people laugh, and maybe that image kind of clicks,
Right.
and they say, whoever wrote my description and biography, entertainer. One time I played with Doc Severinsen in the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra. So it was so entertaining program, and we did little goofy stuff there, that situation is kind of blend to what I do,
Right.
Yeah, so entertain, I don't know. I guess, I don't know. What more to say?
Well, I mean, do you enjoy like compositions that are written like a theatrical composition, or just like, well, do this and do that while you're playing?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Jerome Kitsky, he wrote a piece for Guy Klusersky, Breath and Bone. And I think it's beautiful composition, and he wrote it for vocal and accordion. And it's just, and then I played it for him when he was singing, vocal, Jerome. But then he lives in New York City. One time I called, can I do it my own voice? Oh, he said it would be great. Then I start work on my vocal abilities, and that was more like theatrical, and I enjoyed it tremendously, So anything like that, I'll take it.
Okay.
David Bohm also wrote some kind of vocal one piece for me when I have to speak and playing, Yehuda now working on another new piece, which I'm going to play it in March for me, where theatrical part involved.
Oh.
So also it's going to be in March. We're going to premiere it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, you're on stage, right? So,
Yeah.
For me, it's once you take the stage, anything goes. It's all like you said. It's all about the audience, right, and making that connection.
Yeah.
And so whatever you can do to make that connection, the best is. I think it's harder for performers, especially. Well, I mean, obviously you have a whole huge repertoire to pull from. But you go there to perform something, and you realize like, oh, your audience is maybe a little bit different than what you expect. How do you change it up?
You have to transform quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like how many gigs a year do you do? It sounds like you're really busy.
I never counted, but I think it's hard to tell, really. I would say it's not like I'm playing every day, but I have lots of preparation for different programs. Like I'll give you, for instance, what's my spring look like? I'm going to Texas. I'm going to conduct accordion orchestra, movie theme camp. Then I have to play at the same trip tango show for solo accordion in tango club. Then I have to play another program solo with classical and with another wonderful accordionist Texas duet. So then I'm gonna play during the camp third program. So in one trip, I'm gonna play 3 programs. Then I come back. I have to go to Superior, Wisconsin, and play another program at the University of Superior. Oh. And it's going to be world premiere by Ian Dieterling. He wrote Concerto for Marimba and Accordion, which is insanely difficult piece. And a bunch of other new stuff I'm going to play. Then on March 5th, I'm playing Yehuda's series, music from almost yesterday. Totally new program, a big program. Then I'm going to Florida to play Frida Opera, Naples. So then I have probably most likely my Japan trip in May. So it's not like every day, but preparation, even if I'll have 2 concerts per month. Local gigs I do a lot. It could be every day. Yeah, it's for me, it does not require to prepare or anything.
Right.
But those concerts, it takes lots of time and preparation and focus.
And it's a lot of different genres and styles as well. You know, it sounds like you're very comfortable in being adaptive.
Yeah, and it even puts more pressure on me. Because if I would play one program and play every other day all over, that would be probably easier. But it's not the case, you know?
Right.
Yeah. I wouldn't say I play too often, but if I'll play twice or once even a month, totally new program, it's a little bit more, responsibilities.
So, I would say that, like, kind of one of a criticism about the accordion is that it's kind of, it's stylistically very narrow. I don't know if I agree with that, but I know a lot of people would say that, like, it's accordion music, and it's just like a particular style. What would you say to that?
I would probably disagree with that. Like, you can say, well, when I grew up in 1985, I went to college. So accordion, of course, it just at that time was still very more like, I don't know how to explain. Since then, accordion now in a totally different level. And when I went to Moscow, I entered the school and studied under most prestigious professor in the world, accordion, who also played lots of new music, and he actually worked with best composers in the world. And accordion he put accordion on totally different level. Now I think accordion is very versatile instrument, and I think, to my opinion, it's now probably as instrument, to my opinion, is dominated over all instruments. Because it's matter of who is behind the instrument, how you present it, what you play. Of course, if I'll go and play polka for an hour and a half or 2 hours, nothing wrong with polka, but you don't show what an instrument can do. But accordion can do so much. It's unreal even, it's like human beings, So I think it's how we see it, how audience see it, how knowledgeable audience is, about instruments. Because I tell you, sometimes I played. It used to be earlier more, and people come to me and they say, "We never heard anything like that before." Yeah, I played one time in a museum for people who are non-musicians. They came and I played one of pieces Yehuda wrote. I don't recall name. I think it was One-Legged Dancer or something. And I played it all classical music. I thought, I'm going to play that, I decided, piece, which is contemporary for audience, general public, it would be probably to think, you know.
Right.
And Posiguda was there, and I decided to play. One lady came to me. She said, I couldn't believe it was best piece in the program.
Look
You
at
know,
that.
and that kind of a person who is not musician, you know, they appreciate it. You know, it's unbelievable. You know, it's how people know, how people react, how their emotion connect with the artists. You know, if you grab them like that, it's achievement. You know.
I do. Well, and I think that's, as a producer for me, that's part of the sort of challenge and opportunity to find, you know, people just like music, right? They like music. They
Oh
don't
yeah.
really, they don't really care the style or the, what's the, all the mechanisms in making the music and so forth. They want that connection between, them and the performer. And, as a composer, you want to, sort of be, the facilitator of that art, right? And bringing that together. And it can be any and everything. And anyway, that for me, that's the joy of producing and production and working all the parts together is just kind of finding, how that connection is made.
Yeah. Great.
Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about your instrument?
Well, my instrument is it's beautiful. I don't know how much you can see there. Let's maybe
Let's
put
see
it
a little bit.
down.
There we go.
So it's custom-made instrument in Italy. The company Virtuoso, they're based in Seattle. And Cathedral Bayan, it's called. Okay, for people who don't know what Bayan is, it's a button accordion or classical concept of accordion with a button. It's called Bayan, Bayan. So huge range. It's like full grand piano range. You know, there's lots of switches. Also, you know, if for people who familiar with left hand, you know, it's called stradella when you play bass chord. You can play minor chord. You can play seventh chord and diminish chord. That's what makes play polka easy. With two fingers, you can do like that. You see? But
Right.
also, think about instrument. There's a bar. You switch, and my left hand all becomes like single notes. And what gives us ability to play all classical music, way it's written, all Mozart, you know, Bach. Sorry. And if you play like Sonata Mozart, let me see here. You see left hand all single notes, of course you can play as composer meant to be. So
Oh,
there's
wow.
different, like you see, I have chin switches, like imitation of instrument, like I have piccolo switch. Then I have bassoon switch, and they're a combination of all reeds together.
Right.
So it's very beautiful instrument, and
And like, how quick can you switch instruments?
instruments
Sure.
or switches.
Switches.
Yeah, here's when I'm playing, it's instant. While
Oh,
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 here.
okay.
So main switches here, what I mostly use, it's right here. I don't need to use my hand. I
Right.
can. It's right there.
Gotcha. Very, very cool.
Yeah.
Do you have contemporary composers make you switch a lot?
Yes, when some of them do. Yeah. Sometimes they do. You hold the note and you just play with your chin switches. It gives you like different tones. You know, they do. I see it often. People
Yeah.
do. You know? Well, Robert.
Excellent.
That.
Stas, I want to thank you. First of all, thank you for being a part of the project. It's just wonderful to have you. I've been hearing the updates from David for many years. So I've been like,
It's a good composer, good friend. Yeah, and I've done lots of his new compositions. Many. Yeah, and he brightened. I can keep up with him. By the way, on March 5th at University of Wisconsin, Milwaukee, at Yeguda series, I'm going to premiere his 12 dances he wrote for accordion solo.
oh wow.
I talked to him. I really want sometime maybe to play it online and let people to hear. I'm not sure if they're going to live stream. Yeah. If not, but I told him we have to figure it out how to make it, accessible to people. It's beautiful 12 dances. Each of them, it's different style. It's just unreal how much, and these 12, there's so much to offer. Yeah, and challenge and tricky. But I think I like this pieces,
Well, let me just offer it out right now. Whenever you want to do it online, let me know. We'll make it happen.
Yeah, maybe that will be a good thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. It would be awesome. First of all, I'd love to hear them. But that's what it's all about, right? It's just like listening to the music. I know.
Exactly. Yeah. So let's make it happen. Yeah.
Let's make it happen. Great, Stas. Thank you again so much, and and for everybody who's out there and listening. So this is for 15 Minutes of Fame. Your call deadline is coming up on December 31st.
Mm-hmm.
And if any composers have any questions or whatever, they should write you an email.
Yes. Yeah. I got 2 emails from 2 different composers, and we talked a little bit and made it clear. Yeah, and let's tentatively we'll say June 4. Yeah.
Excellent.
At about 2:00. I think that's what we'll go for and see how it goes.
Perfect. Sounds fantastic. I can't wait.
I can't wait.
Excellent, Stas. Thank you again. And thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Yep.